Hello class, and welcome to Unit 2B. We will continue to study and learn about the 19th century. We will now be focusing on the events leading up to and during the U.S. Civil War. Just as with the previous units, class will study the pre-selected major events as well as the posted vocabulary before each class to better prepare for class discussion and properly guide us along the unit timeline. During week 1, we will cover the first 3 events of the timeline: the Missouri Compromise, the States' Rights, 1829, and the Compromise of 1850. For this lesson, we will focus on the Missouri Compromise of 1820. Now, here is a brief summary of the Missouri Compromise. The Missouri Compromise of 1820 was an effort by the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives to maintain a balance of power between the slaveholding states and free states. The slaveholding states feared that if they became outnumbered in congressional representation, that they would lack the power to protect their interests in property and trade. In 1819, the slaveholding territory of Missouri applied for admission to the Union. Northern states opposed it, feeling that southern slaveholding states held too much power already. The Constitution allowed states to count each slave as 3/5 of a person for purposes of determining population, and therefore the number of congressional representatives the state was entitled to. This had given the South an advantage in Congress. Slavery had already been creeping into the Northwest Territory, the area between Ohio River and the Great Lakes, even though the Northwest Ordinance of 1787 prohibited slavery there. Southerners migrating into the region took their slaves with them under the guise of indentured servitude, which was legal in the area. Northerners, most of whom favored free states in which slavery was prohibited, feared slavery would become a de facto in the states carved from the Northwest Territory. The admission of Missouri, which came from lands obtained through the Louisiana Purchase and lay outside the Old Northwest, added to their fears of the expansion of slavery. Representative James Talmadge, Jr. of New York offered 2 amendments to the Missouri Statehood Bill of February 13, 1819. The first prohibited any further importation of slaves into Missouri. The second required gradual emancipation for the slaves already there. The House passed his amendments along strictly regional voting lines, but the Senate, where representation of free and slaveholding states were balanced, rejected it. Congressional debates on the issue raged for a year until the District of Maine, originally part of Massachusetts, sought statehood. Henry Clay of Kentucky, the Speaker of the House, maintained that if Maine were to be admitted, then Missouri should be too. From this came the notion that states be admitted in pairs, 1 slave and 1 free. Senator Jesse B. Thomas of Illinois proposed an amendment allowing slavery below the parallel 36 degrees 30 minutes in the vast Louisiana Purchase territory, but prohibiting it above that line. That parallel was chosen because it ran approximately along the southern border of Missouri. The Missouri Compromise, after much debate, passed the Senate on March 2, 1820, and the House on February 26, 1821. Though the compromise measure quelled the immediate divisiveness engendered by the Missouri question, it intensified the larger regional conflict between North and South. It served notice to the North that Southerners not only did not intend for slavery to end, they wanted it to expand its presence. In the South, the belief grew that Northerners were using slavery as a smokescreen behind which they could resurrect the Federalist Party and strengthen the central government at the expense of states' rights. If you'd like to read further about the Missouri Compromise, please check out the following 2 websites. And also, please watch this brief video. It's only like 3 minutes long, but it covers most everything that we just went over. And here, as with each lesson, I have written out 5 questions that I will have you answer along with the definitions of 5 random vocabulary words from this lesson in the prior knowledge assessment. This will be taken during the first 15 minutes of class and will be submitted before we discuss the lesson's readings and fill out our timeline graphic organizers. So the questions are, why did Northerners oppose allowing Missouri to enter as a slave state? Number 2, what were the geographic coordinates of the Missouri Compromise? 3, what was the free state that entered the Union along with Missouri? 4, what state territory was Maine originally a part of? Gee, let's figure out 3 and 4. And number 5, in 1819, according to the Constitution, each slave would count for how much of a fraction of a person when determining population? And as far as the vocabulary, please just summarize your definitions, no more than 2 sentences. Don't get carried away, because the 15 minutes of class will be eaten up pretty quick if you're writing an epic saga about each one of these topics. So please just limit it to 2 sentences. All right, that's everything for this first lesson. Please be ready to take the PK assessment and be ready to begin discussions on the Missouri Compromise and work on your unit graphic organizers. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in class.